What is up, America? Welcome to episode 7 of Tuesday Night Football. Episode 7. If you're still with us, we greatly appreciate it and we thank you very much. Just a little background for all of our viewers out there, because I know we've got some viewer growth. We got some new audience members. The first 10 minutes is going to be primarily dedicated to our personal fantasy football league. I know a lot of people don't care about that at all. And then after that, if you want to just scroll past those 10 minutes, we're going to get into the NFL, which is our bread and butter that everyone knows about. It's a very objective NFL pick 'em. So this is a little background information, but we're going to start off today's episode. It's been a crazy week. We just had our trade deadline, a lot of big trades. Personally, I traded Stefon Diggs for Jameer Gibbs. A very beneficial trade for both sides. Kenny, what are your thoughts on this week?
Yeah, this was this was an awesome week. A lot of trades. I set an imaginary over under of trades at 4.5, and pretty sure we got past that pretty easily. This league we had 38 trades throughout the season, which is mind boggling. So a lot of teams look different. It was a tight playoff race. There's a lot to talk about.
Amen. So let's get right into it. We're gonna do our power rankings for the league so far, based off of everybody's schedule. We're getting close to the playoffs. And me and Kenny kind of put together a power rankings list that we feel pretty good about. Kenny, why don't you get us started on that?
Yes, yes. So obviously, if you want to look at the standings, just go on our app. You can find them there.
Mhm.
But did a little power rankings based on current record, kind of state of the team, where we think you're going to be in the future. No bias. No one get offended. Everybody's got a great team. Everybody's got a chance to win.
You'll see
Um,
there's no bias in this power rankings, by the way. You'll
yeah,
see it.
yeah. So starting at number 10, I got Dan there. And while I think Dan has put together a good team, and I think I've picked him the last 3 weeks to win. He's won all
You
three
have.
weeks.
Yep.
And he's definitely on the right path. He made a couple trades that I didn't love, to be honest. And I think his team, I don't know if it's going to be able to compete at the highest level. He's a he's an avid trader. And
Loves
yeah,
trading.
he loves trading. And while I think he has a good team, just the record right now, it's going to be a tight race. I got him at 10. What are your thoughts?
I would agree with that. I think the way things have been moving, Lee had some really good trades. He got rid of Derrick Henry. I think probably the best time. But Derrick Henry is still Derrick Henry. We all know that. But Dan at 10, honestly, it's a coin flip between him and Lee. But Dan at 10, I got no problem with that.
Yeah, Dan at 10. Still hope we have a tight race for Waffle House. A lot of good players on Dan's team still. Definitely think he's got a good shot to give Lee a run for his money. But going to 9, we got Lee. Lee, again, he's made some pretty good trades. Picked up Jalen Warren, and Mike Evans from Derrick Henry, which was a fantastic trade. Lee's team went absolutely
Phenomenal.
off last week.
Phenomenal.
But Garrett Wilson on Lee's team, big underperformer. Marquise Brown, big underperformer. Sam Howell, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get it done for Lee down the stretch. Lee plays me this week, which I don't know what's going to happen, but I think I'll win. I am biased. I just think Lee's going to have a tough time the rest of the season with just some of his depth. He's got some really good players, but I'm going to keep him at 9. What are your thoughts?
Fully agree on all of it.
Okay, perfect. Um, Going to 8. 8. This one might raise some eyebrows based on the record.
Hmm.
I got Jake at 8.
Yep.
The reason I have Jake at 8, while I think his record has secured him away from being in danger of Waffle House, his upcoming games are Richard, Jared, and Lee. Now, I don't know if he's going to be able to beat Richard Jared. I think him and Lee are going to have a close one.
Hmm.
If he's able to at least win one of those, he should secure himself out of the Waffle House. But he's made a ton of trades. It's like it's kind of like a seesaw. It's like good, bad, good, 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 bad, 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 good, 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 bad, bad, good. And right now, I don't know if I love the outlook of the future. I could be wrong. He traded away Derrick Henry for Madison and Godwin, which I didn't fully understand, but he did, and I got him at 8. I mean, I think he's got a decent shot at winning maybe one or two more, but I'm not sure if I feel super strong with him going in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, I think he made a lot of trades. I think he loves trades. I think we all love trades. Sometimes trades are a double-edged sword. Um, Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. We'll see. He felt like he needed to switch some things up. His team hadn't broken 100, I think, in 3 straight weeks. He said. Um, so I respect it. I respect him making the moves, but I would probably agree that he's right there at 8.
Yeah, yeah. So Jake at 8, Lee at 9, Dan at 10. Next person up is me,
Mm.
Kenny. I put myself at 7.
No
Well,
bias.
no bias, no bias. I put myself at 7. I'm 5 and 6. I need to earn a better spot. That being said, I do feel pretty strong about my team going to this last stretch. I play Lee, Dan, Richard. My last 3 games. That's not the right order. Lee, Richard, Dan is the correct order of that.
Boom, boom, boom,
I'm pretty
boom, boom, boom.
hopeful I can get at least 1 or 2 wins out of that. Hopefully, fight for a playoff spot. I made a lot of trades yesterday. I was
A
not
lot of
completely
trades.
present in real life because I was so into trades. Looking at everybody's team, trying to flip around players, I gave AJ Brown to Jared. I got a bunch in return. I gave Kyron to Nikki. While I was trading with Nikki, I was also texting with Gray on the side, trying to coordinate a massive trade thing. And I feel really good about my team going into the stretch. So I'll put myself at 7. What are your thoughts, Richard?
Agreed. I agree with
Agreed.
that statement. Because Grant, I'll get into it right there. Grant at 6. You put Grant in the 6th spot. Um, I agree with that. After Grant's performance this last week, he had a tough loss to Mike, but you can tell he is scoring a literal ton of points. There's no denying that his team puts up points in bunches. So I think you at 7, Grant at 6. I think those are very, very fair assessments.
Yep. Moving along, we got Richard at 5. I'll let Richard talk on this team. I'm not going to talk for you.
Yeah, my team, it's been a little bit frustrating. Jamar Chase obviously having to deal with the adversity of his good friend Joe Burrow. We send our prayers to Joe. I think it's actually more serious than a torn ligament in his wrist. I do believe it's actually his elbow, but that's just me hypothesizing conspiracies. Um, we moved Stefon Diggs. I think it was time to move on from Diggs. I think Diggs is I think there's something going on with him and Josh Allen. I have Josh Allen as my quarterback, but there is something going on there where I think Josh Allen maybe has lost a little personal trust with Stefon Diggs. Stefon Diggs is super talented, but right now he's got a bye after this week in week 13. Can't have that. Can't have that in a playoff stretch. Moved him for Jahmyr Gibbs, which I thought was incredible value. Jahmyr Gibbs has become a I don't even know how to describe Jahmyr Gibbs because he's becoming absolutely electric in Detroit. So sent that trade over. I was surprised it got accepted. I was happy it got accepted. I think it's good for both teams. Mike has a lot of running backs. But we need to beat Jake this week. That's what we're focused on, and we're happy with the fifth seed, especially coming off a loss to Nikki.
Yep. Totally agree. Totally agree with all those points. Um, Getting Gibbs in that trade, I was very shocked that you were able to get Gibbs. In my opinion, I have Gibbs up there with like CMC level type of player. The guy is completely electric, can literally win you a week. I think he's been like a top 5 running back the last 4 weeks. He's been insane, minus the bye. But yeah, moving on here, we got JJ at 4. JJ just made a trade yesterday, traded away Josh Jacobs, got Pittman and Gus Bus in return. Um, I really like JJ's team. I mean, he's got a stable of running backs. He's got Pacheco, Gus Bus, DeAndre Swift, CMC. Obviously, PPR league wide receivers are important. Now he's got Pittman, he's got Waddle, and he's got Justin Jefferson on IR. So if Justin Jefferson comes back and JJ makes the playoffs, I really think he's going to make a lot of noise. He's going to be a dangerous team to play.
Yeah, JJ having JJ say that twice on his IR is huge. I think Jefferson. I believe the Vikings played this week and then they're on a bye.
Yes.
Okay, I think Justin Jefferson is going to play this week. I think that they kept him out precautionary versus Denver. I think they probably were riding the high of these last couple of victories for Josh Dobbs and said, "Let's roll the dice." The altitude over there in Denver, things could happen. They said, "You know what? Let's put him on ice. Let's keep him up for next week." I think he's going to come back this week. Um, and when he does, that's going to be huge for JJ because a 80% Justin Jefferson is better than a lot of 100% wide receivers, and that's just a fact. So when he comes back, that's going to be huge. He already is in the 4th spot. He's 6-5. So he already is in the playoffs, and then you're basically at the trade deadline, you got Justin Jefferson, who was already on your team, and you gave up pretty much nothing. Huge addition.
Yeah, huge addition. I think we see a couple of full practices with JJ. He'll be back out there.
Yep,
JJ will be on JJ's team. Going
correct.
to
JJ and
three,
JJ.
we're getting to the top three here. Again, we're doing this kind of before playoffs, little playoff outlook, rest of season outlook.
Mm-hmm.
Three, we got Mike. Mike did just trade away Jahmyr Gibbs, which I personally didn't love for him. That being said, Mike has been putting up an insane amount of points. Nobody can ignore that. He's
Yep.
6-5, which is on top of the league. He's in a big matchup against Nicky this week. He's
Huge.
got Bijan, Saquon. Cup being hurt is the reason I didn't put him at 2. I don't know the extent of that injury. It sounded like something not too major. He'll probably miss a week. But he got Diggs, Kelsey, Devontae Smith, Ridley. His depth, not the best. Devin Singletary, I don't think he'll be relevant going forward. With Pierce coming back, they're going to be in a timeshare most likely. Ty Chandler, he might take that job for Madison. We'll see how that plays out. But if you just look at Mike's starting lineup, I think he's got a very solid squad. Definitely can make some noise in the playoffs. That's why I got him at 3.
Yeah, I think Mike's team's got some great players. He obviously just traded for Stefon Diggs, and he's got Saquon as well. He's got Devontae Smith, Calvin Ridley, and also Christian Watson starts to play well. That's a huge addition as well. I drafted him pretty early this year, or I traded him one of the two. Um, these names they got to play well. Saquon's got to play well. Calvin Ridley's got to play well. They got to almost exceed expectations, but he's been putting up so many points that it really doesn't matter. If these guys continue to perform, it's going to be hard for them to continue to perform that way. But if Diggs just goes to average of what he's been able to put up, 15, 16, he's in a great spot. So Mike has put together a very good team. All the respect to him after the 1-4 start. He's right there in the second spot. In the standings, he's third in power rankings.
Yeah, third in the power rankings. I think second in the standings. I got Nick at 2. Nick just made some big trades at the deadline. He got Kyren Williams from me. Recent news sounds like Kyren's going to be back to his workhorse role. Can't speak. He plays after this week. He plays Arizona this week. I think he's going to be relevant this week. Then he goes to Cleveland and Baltimore, which I didn't love, which is part of the reason I traded him. Even though I do think Nicky got really good value for that. He had 2 tight ends. He was just trying to get rid of one. So that being said, he also made a trade for Derrick Henry, got rid of Godwin and Madison. He's got a lot of depth. He's got a lot of studs on his team. Devontae Adams, Olave starts going off. I think he's another dangerous team. I think Metcalf, Ford have a really good rest of season outlook. A-Chain's dealing with some injuries, so Raheem Mostert's going to be relevant. I really like Nicky's team going forward. I think he's 6-5. Him and Mike got a big game this week. That's going to determine a lot with playoffs. So I got Nicky at 2.
Yeah, that's tough scheduling with Nicky and Mike. One of those teams gonna be 6-6. One's gonna be 7-5. Huge difference down here at the stretch. I think he's got a great double stack going here with Lawrence and Mostert. Devontae Adams is starting to really come to form. I think they're starting to really make it a point of reference to get. I don't know if point of reference is probably the best term. Maybe just a point to get him the football. Even with Aiden O'Connell. Derrick Henry taking a risk. I thought the risk was worth it. I think giving away who was it, Godwin and Madison.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's worth it for Derrick Henry. You're rolling the dice. Dr. Cito can still put up a huge game anytime he wants. Just a matter if they're going to give him the ball to flow the game. Nicky's a very dangerous team, like you said. Huge matchup with Mike this week.
Yep. All right, going into our number 1 spot, we got Jared, who I made the trade with. I think Jared might have gotten a little bit of the trade regret.
As I like to say in the business, cold feet.
Yeah, cold feet going into the trade, after the trade. Won't disclose anything else. But now Jared's got 2 absolute superstars on his team. He has Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, still has a pretty good core. Pollard, you need Pollard to play well if he wants to win a championship. Javonte Williams didn't have a great game last week. He's got Nico, Jordan Addison, Hawkinson, all great players. Breece Hall on the bench right now. I don't get that fully. But yeah, no, Jared made a big risk to acquire AJ Brown. He's 8-3. He's got a pretty good shot at making the playoffs, unless he might already clinch. I don't know. So yeah, no, Jared, I think, from his perspective, he's just trying to put together a championship winning team. And so he took a big risk. We'll see how it plays out.
This isn't poker when you say I'm all in. You got a lot of chips, and you're saying you're trying to get rid of everybody, trying to get rid of the stinkers. I'll say this: he has a formula he talks about. His formula was doing great. He was 6-3. Now he's 7-3, 8-3. I think what is he 8-3 now? He's eight and
He's eight and
three now.
three.
Yeah, I mean the formula was clearly working. I was surprised with the AJ Brown trade. To be honest with you, I thought he was giving up a ton. He was obviously getting AJ Brown, but he was giving up a ton of his core pieces that he relied on. Alvin Kamara, PPR machine. Um, Brees Hall, he's good, but I'm not bought in completely on Brees Hall. Um, but he's got a method. He's got the recipe. He's cooking something there. So he believes in it. He's 8-3. He's backed it up. It's just a matter of will it pay off?
Yep. Yeah, that does it, man. That's the power rankings right there. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Bang. All right. So let's transition from this is the part of the episode where we transition from our fantasy to our NFL and also just another little logistical background. We're only gonna be dropping one episode this week. Happy holidays. Go watch and football with your family. Don't worry about this podcast. Go enjoy, eat turkey, drink some beer, watch some football, watch your fantasy team win or lose. One of them will happen. Um, but it's going to be a great week of football. I love Thanksgiving. I love the football lineup on Thanksgiving this Thursday. With all that being said, let's get into that first game. We got Lions and Packers on Thanksgiving, 12:30 p.m. in Detroit, Ford Field. What do you like? Wait, well, actually, before we do that, let's do a little give a little background on our records last week.
Are those going to
Yeah,
pop up on the screen?
I don't have the records.
Okay. The records are so Richard last week finished 10 wins. He picked 10 games correctly and he picked 4 games incorrectly. So 10-4. Me,
Down
I
four.
went 9-5. If you add up our season rankings, we pick the Bucks every week because we're diehard Buck fans. We're looking pretty good. Next episode, we'll come at you with some official statistics there. But yeah, that was the
If anyone in the
picks last week.
comments remembers what our record was, I think it was 25-22. Not
25 and
100% sure.
17.
25-17, that was our record.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm
So
looking at 35-21, and you're 34-22.
wow, that was good. Yeah.
That's amazing. Again, fellas. I know people like to do stuff with their income. You might want to start listening to us. I don't know.
I need to listen to myself.
Maybe screen record this right here. But Packers Lions, who do you like?
So the Packers played a pretty good game last week.
Yep.
You had them beating the Chargers, I believe. I had the Chargers. That was a good pick on your part.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Love's
Thank you.
looking better. Jordan Love's looking better. Lions had a
Yep.
statement win last week. They beat the Bears. They came back. I think they were down by maybe 2 scores. I can't remember exactly.
They overcame some adversity at home.
Yeah, big time. The energy they're bringing into this game, I don't see how the Packers can win. While I do think the Packers are going to keep it competitive, I think the spread's 7.5. I'm going to go Lions.
This is a really interesting game. This is a really, really interesting game because the Packers are coming off a win. And I think if the Packers had gone to 3-7 instead of 4-6, the Lions probably win this game by 13-14. The Packers have life, and the last spot in the NFC is completely up for grabs still, even with the Vikings being good and the Saints and the NFC South. All that stuff is still up for grabs. The Lions are 8-3.
8-2.
Oh, they're 8-2? Wow, 8-2. See, that's crazy. I think that this game is going to be a lot closer than people think. It's Thanksgiving. Sometimes the home team on Thanksgiving. I remember in 2020, the Lions were playing the Texans. The Texans were terrible that year. I said, you know what? There's no way that the Lions lose on Thanksgiving. Blah, 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 blah. The Texans came in there and blew them out. Obviously, there's COVID, no fans, yada, yada, yada. With all that being said, I think that the Packers are going to squeak one by. And I know this sounds like a bandwagon pick because of their victory versus the Chargers, but I think the Packers are still a much better team than people think. I think the Lions are a very, very good team, but I don't know if they're 9-2 good. I think the Lions are good. I think that was a very shaky win last week. They're still trying to figure some stuff out on offense. Their defense is good, but it gives up a lot sometimes. I think the Packers capitalize on that. I'm going to take the Pack on this one. All right. Moving on to our second game on Thanksgiving, we got Commanders Cowboys. I do not foresee this being that close of a game. I know that the Commanders sometimes randomly pop up and play well, and then they play bad, and then they play well again. So this would be the play well spot. But the Commanders, I think, are a team that knows that they are not going anywhere. And I think it was more evident than ever versus the Giants last week, losing at home to a Giants team who I think is literally trying to lose. Possibly. I don't know. The players are trying to play the franchise. I'm sure John Mara may want the Lions or the Giants to lose. I'm not sure. But the Giants played their hearts out. And I think for a team like the Commanders to not be able to rise up to that, it's bad. And I think that Ron Rivera sees the writing on the wall. Obviously, new ownership. I think the Cowboys are probably riding a high. I think they took care of business versus the Panthers. I think they're starting to show that that fluke loss to Arizona was a complete fluke. I'm going to take the Cowboys in this one.
I'm going to take the Cowboys as well, but I will caveat. I have the Commanders at New York Giants level of good, so not very good. But similar to last week where I was completely dead wrong, I saw the spread of the game. The Cowboys were away. They were like 10.5 point favorites, and I thought that was weird. Turns out the Cowboys won by like 20 something points, right?
Yep.
This week, Cowboys are at home. They're 11 point favorite over the Commanders. I get the same feeling, right? I get the same feeling. Like, why? It
Yeah.
should be more. It should be more. That being said, Cowboys are going to win, but I am a little concerned with that spread. I think the Commanders surprisingly will keep this one close. Maybe 10 points, but
Sounds like a game that the Cowboys are up 31-17 with 4 minutes left in the fourth, and the Commanders have the ball, and they can either cover or they're going to throw a pick six.
exactly.
Yep. All right. And the nightcap, my favorite game of Thanksgiving week, the nightcap game, 49ers Seahawks from Lumen Field. Shout out to Kenny. Shout out to Lumen. Seahawks 49ers. This unfortunately is, I don't know. This is gonna be a tough one. This is gonna be a tough one. Gino's hurt. Kenneth Walker's hurt. The Seahawks are a professional. Pete Carroll's a professional, and NFC and anything honestly goes in the NFC West. I don't know exactly I don't know if Pete Carroll owns Shanahan or Shanahan owns Pete Carroll, but McVay owns Shanahan. Sometimes every coach somehow owns each other. I think I'm going to have to go with the 49ers on this one. I think there's too many injuries. I think if they were healthy, the Seahawks would make this a game. But with all that being said, the 49ers had a win versus the Bucks. They're probably going to try and prove something here. Short week, but that flight to San Francisco to Seattle is not that far. I'm going to take the 49ers on this one.
Yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah, take the 49ers.
I'm taking the Seahawks. Got to rep my boys at Lumen,
Yep.
boys and girls at Lumen. Um, I think Geno Smith. There was a report came out. There's no structural damage. He's going to be
Mm-hmm.
sore. What player isn't sore week 12 into the season? I think every player is battling through something, whether you know it or you don't. You'd be
Yep.
like the Bengals and not report it, or you can know about it. That was a shot at the Bengals. But yeah, no, I'm gonna pick Seahawks. They made that big addition to their D line. I can't remember the guy's name. It's from the Giants, right?
Leonard Williams.
Leonard Williams.
Yep.
The Seahawks have a really good defense. I think the Seahawks are going to make the 49ers really work for their points. It's a bold pick. I totally understand. I mean, the 49ers, if you look on paper, they're a way better team. But I think the Seahawks with Charbonnet being the workhorse, they're gonna be able to pull this one out. So we'll see. It's gonna be probably more low scoring than people think, in my opinion.
Moving on, we got some Black Friday football. I love football. I love what they're doing Thursday, and then they're just coming right back on a Black Friday football. A lot of people are going to be shopping. I'm going to be dialed in this game. Dolphins, Jets from MetLife in New York. The rumor is that the Dolphins can't play in the cold. It's going to probably be cold. It's New York in November. I think, listen, Robert Saleh, I've always said Robert Saleh is a very good coach. The Jets are coming off a butt whooping, an absolute. This is a kids program butt whooping over there in Buffalo. All right, the Dolphins coming off victory versus the Raiders. Probably should have played better. Their offense didn't play great. I think with Tim Boyle starting now, Zach Wilson obviously benched. The Dolphins I think are going to play a little bit of it's just the Jets game. A little bit of I don't really care about the Jets. The Jets always seem to do this where they come in and they win out of nowhere. I don't know if they're going to be able to stop the Dolphins' offense. Though they have a great defense. I don't know if their offense is going to be able to. I don't know if the Jets' offense is going to be able to keep up with the Dolphins' offense. I don't know if the Jets' defense is going to stop the Dolphins' offense. I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Yeah, I like your points you're making though, and you're really making me think this is going to be a lot closer than people think. And I won't be surprised if we see some random Jets upset here, but I'm going to go
Yep.
Dolphins too. I saw some stat where I think the last touchdown the Jets scored was the first touchdown they scored in like 40 possessions.
Oh,
And I think
terrible.
that kind of goes parallel with the point you're making, where I think the Dolphins simply can just put up more points than the Jets can. I don't
Yep.
think there's going to be a lot of points, but the Dolphins, I think, have this game pretty much locked.
Yep. All right. Moving on to another game at MetLife, Patriots Giants. This is obviously an historic matchup. Two Super Bowls have been decided by these two teams, have been played versus each other, these two teams. Super Bowl in Arizona and Super Bowl in Indianapolis, both won by the Giants. I think the Patriots are going to get freaky this game. I think the Patriots are going to get freaky. I think we're going to see Will Greer. I think Will Greer is going to have some playing time. I think we could probably see all three quarterbacks play. You know what? Scratch that. I think Mac Jones is done because I don't know if no Mac Jones. I think it's too early for his fifth year option. But I think the Mac Jones era is obviously over in New England. Unfortunately, didn't work out. I think the Giants come off a great victory. I think that they're gonna again. I think the Giants play with all heart. I think this is an all heart game. It's gonna come down to what skill players, what quarterbacks can play better, what cornerbacks can play better. Um, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. Patriots coming off a bye, Giants coming off a great win. Dable versus Belichick, two former head coaches. I'm gonna let you pick and I'll get my pick. I'm just tough.
Yeah, both teams should be wanting to lose. They both have really high draft picks if they lose. I don't know. I don't see the Patriots going to 2-9, so I'm going to pick the Patriots. But that's pretty much the only reason. It's a tough one. I mean, you're picking between impossible
I'm
whopper.
gonna go with history. I'm gonna go with Giants.
Okay.
All right. Move on to our next game here in the NFL. We got sorry, it's loading real quick. Ooh, Steelers Bengals, a good old AFC North matchup at I don't know what the Bengals. I think this is still Paul Brown Field, I think.
Paycor
And
Stadium.
what was it?
Paycor Stadium.
Oh, it's a terrible name. Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati. Um, Obviously the news, Matt Canada has been relieved of his duties in Pittsburgh. Um, no Joey B again in Cincinnati. I think Jamar Chase is going to get force fed the football. I think Joe Mixon is going to have probably 10 catches from out of the backfield. This game, I think, is going to be another gross AFC North 17-14, 13-10 absolute drag out. Which defense is going to play better? I think in this instance, it's probably going to be the Steelers. This game's going to be close, but I'm going to take the Steelers.
I'm going to take the Steelers as well. Let's not forget the Steelers' last few weeks before that last game. The Steelers are a pretty good football team.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kenny Pickett, Matt Canada's gone. Kenny Pickett, is he the answer? Probably not. I think I said that about Zach Wilson last week. I said he was playing better, but it's probably not the answer. Everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Mm-hmm.
definitely not the answer now.
Yep.
Kenny Pickett, probably not the answer, but they have too many weapons.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett's going to be playing better than Browning, whatever his name is, on the Bengals side of the ball. Bengals defense, like I said last episode, pretty middle of the pack. They are at home, which is nice. But I don't know if they're going to be able to stop the weapons that the Steelers have on offense. Like Najee, Jalen Warren, they're really cooking. Fired OC game. I'm going to go Steelers too.
Let's see. Are the Steelers underdogs? If they are, it's definitely mega Steelers. Can't find the game. Ooh, their favorites. Crap. I'm still gonna take the Steelers. Probably shouldn't, but I'm gonna take the Steelers. All right. Panthers Titans and Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. Um, this is a pride game. This is a pride game for both teams. I think Frank Reich is coaching for his job. I think Bryce Young is playing for some respect. Panthers coming off another embarrassing game versus the Cowboys. Titans coming off an embarrassing loss to the Jaguars. This is a complete respect game. Who's going to have more respect for themselves in this game? I think obviously it's pretty obvious. I think it's going to be, we only got 10 minutes left. We got to fly through these.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be Vrabel. I think the difference here is the coaching. Will Levis, I think, has shown more than Bryce Young. I'm going to go Titans.
Yeah, I'm going to go Titans here too. Panthers just are not a very good football team. They're not having a good year. Why win at this point? Why win?
Yeah. Jags Texans at NRG Stadium in Houston. I know a lot of people are loving the Texans right now. I think the Texans showed a little bit of regression this week versus the Cardinals. I think the Jaguars showed a little bit of exactly who they are versus the Titans out in that victory at home. I think the San Francisco game was an outlier. I think maybe they were in their heads a little bit. I think the Jaguars are going to take this one big. I don't see them losing to the Texans twice this year.
Yeah, I'm actually in agreement with you, and it's surprising. I had no idea the Jags were 7-3.
Yeah.
Just based on what you see, playing fantasy and stuff from some of the points, I had no idea they were 7-3. Texans are
Mm-hmm.
6-4. The Texans are going to be a playoff team. They're going to be good. And while I think they actually do compete pretty well in this game, yeah, I think the Jaguars are going to start hitting their stride. Not from a run perspective, but with Zay Jones back, it really brings like an extra element to their offense. So I'm going to go Jaguars.
Next game, the absolute grossest game. I wish I didn't have to even pick this game. Saints Falcons at Mercedes Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Okay, I will literally say this right now. If I get this prediction right, we will be clipping it and it will be a TikTok. I'm literally going to say this game's going to end a tie. Neither team's going to win.
Okay. Well, for the sake of the record, I think you should pick one as like a backup.
All right. Correct. Falcons.
Yeah,
The lesser of two evils.
I'm gonna go Falcons as well. I think they'll get it together this week. Derek Carr, if he plays, which he probably will play, I think this happened earlier in the season. He was all banged up and they forced him to play and he played terrible. I
Yep.
think it's gonna be the exact same thing. You can't win a game. Jameis Winston, I'm wearing your jersey right now. I love you, Jameis.
We love you, Jabu. If you
You're,
watch
you're,
this, we love you.
you're the best, man. Great human being. But from a football
Yep.
perspective, you can't win games when you throw at least 2 picks every game, right?
Can't do it.
So I'm gonna go Falcons strictly because of that. Carr's gonna be
Yep.
banged up. He's not gonna be playing well.
All right. Rams Cardinals at State Farm Stadium in Glendale or Phoenix, Arizona, whichever one. Um, tough one to call. Cardinals are playing spirit football. The Rams, I think, are still feel like they're in the hunt. I still feel like the Rams could be in the hunt. No matter of Cooper Kupp's health. Cooper Kupp sprained his ankle. Matt Stafford didn't play well. They got that gritty victory last week. I'm gonna take the Rams here. I think the Rams are gonna show some guts here. They're gonna show that they're still a very good football team. Big game from Aaron Donald. I just see a big game from Aaron Donald. I think Donald still got it. I'm gonna take the Rams here.
I'm actually gonna take the Cardinals, and I can see it going either way again. But I think Kyler's starting to knock the rust off. Some of these throws you see him make, it's like this guy hasn't played football in a while.
Yeah, underthrown a lot. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go Cardinals. I think it's gonna be a close one again. But yeah, no, I'm gonna go Cards.
Browns Broncos at Mile High Stadium in Denver. I know it's not the name of it, but it is what it is. It used to be called Sports Authority Field. Used to love Sports Authority. This is a team. This is a game of two flaming hot teams, and I'm gonna take the Broncos because I'm just gonna ride it. I'm gonna keep riding. Like I keep saying, I'm gonna ride it. I'm gonna ride it till it ends. The Browns DTR. I think it was I think it was emotional. I think it was a good story last week. I don't think it's gonna happen this week. Jim Schwartz is gonna have a good defensive plan for the Broncos. I think this is a Jim Schwartz for Sean Payton game, but I think the Broncos are at home, which is a huge difference. And I think at the end of the day, we've said it all along. This podcast is a pro Broncos podcast. The Broncos are a good football team. I don't think that's going to change this week because they're playing the Browns. Myles Garrett is going to be a problem, but I think Sean Payton's going to find ways to get around him. I'm going to take the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm taking the Broncos as well. I mean, we've been riding hot with the Broncos. We picked the Broncos to be the Chiefs, the Bills. Pretty sure we both picked them last week as well.
Mm-hmm.
They've been on a heater. I don't think the heater ends against the Browns. The Browns are an insanely good defense, but I think Russ, man, he's going to get it done.
Yep. Bills and Eagles at the bank in Philadelphia. I'm taking the Bills here. And I'm going to say this to Bills because I think it's a short week for the Eagles. I think that's an emotional, draining victory versus the Chiefs. Obviously, all the Kelsey hoopla. The Bills are playing good football. One of the reasons why I didn't want to trade Stefon Diggs is I think the Bills are playing really good football right now. That's evident by that shellacking they gave the Jets. I know it's been a little rough before that, but teams start to play, in the words of Tom Brady, teams start to play really well around Thanksgiving. Watch out for the Bills. Watch out for the Bills. The Bills have all the talent in the world to pull off a run here. I'm going to take the Bills versus the Eagles.
I'm taking the Bills too. I think the Bills are getting into form right now. I think, like you said, I mean, honestly, you kind of sold me a little bit right there. I think the Eagles are kind of going to be a little drained too going into that game, short week, like literally just repeating everything you said. I'm going to go Bills. That was a good pitch.
Chiefs Raiders at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. I have a similar synopsis for this game like I just did for the Eagles with the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are a little bit drained right now. I think they're coming off. They obviously had the loss versus Denver. Then they had to bye. I think they probably sprinkled in a win somewhere in there. They lose to Philadelphia in a game they should not have lost. Now they come to Las Vegas, who is hungry. They're still the Vegas Raiders still got that vibe around them. They still got that chip on their shoulder. That's the size of those mountains in Las Vegas. I'm going to take the Raiders here. I think that the Chiefs are a good football team, but they don't have the pieces or the coaching that they once had. The enemy's not there. Matt Nagy's still he's a good coach. He's not a great coach. Mahomes can't do everything. The wide receivers aren't doing what their part. I think the Raiders can still play a good enough football at home to win this game. I like the Raiders.
Um, like I said, I respect the pick. I'm gonna go Chiefs though. I think the Chiefs really get it into gear. I think they're going to force each wide receiver to make 200 catches before they go to bed every night, just to really make sure that they can catch the ball. If they're catching these balls, I mean, Aiden O'Connell, I'm not not a fan of Aiden O'Connell. I don't think he's that good.
Yep.
All that, but that being said, I'm gonna go Chiefs.
Ravens Chargers at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. You want to consolidate your credit? Go to SoFi. This is the game I think that probably puts an end to the Staley era. I can say that I as someone who literally picked the Packers last week, I don't see a problem at all. The Ravens are coming off this mini bye. Yeah, they're flying to LA, whatever. This is the game where the Chargers either win this game and go to the Super Bowl, or the Chargers lose this game and they're done. I think it's going to be the latter. I love the Ravens.
I'm gonna go Ravens too. I'm not making the same mistake I made last week, man. Chargers. Austin Eckler also did not look very good last game, and they need every weapon they can get. We got 2 minutes left, so I'm gonna stop talking. But Ravens.
Bears Vikings. Don't know why this wasn't flexed out. They're forcing us to watch the Vikings. I love watching Josh Dobbs, but I've had enough of the Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings here. I think the Bears are. I think this is again. Sometimes the coaching just wins these games. I think not O'Connell. I'm blanking on his name right now. Kevin O'Connell. There it is. Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Vikings, is just a better coach than Eberflus. I think the place is going to be loud. This is the same team who beat. Who did they beat on Monday Night Football? That one where they were complete underdogs.
The Vikings.
Yeah, who did they beat on Monday Night Football?
The 49ers.
49, exactly. They beat the 49ers at home. They're playing the Bears, Monday Night Football. The Bears, I'm sure they're going to want to win. They just come off a tough game versus the Lions. Maybe they keep it close. Maybe Justin Fields makes some good plays, but I like the Vikings in this one.
I think the Bears finally get it done this week. They don't win a lot, but I think they win this week. I think the Vikings, they were on a bit of a heater. Use that word twice this podcast. They're on a bit of a heater.
Heater.
But no, I think the Bears finally get it done this week. I think Justin Fields is, really showing, hey, I'm the guy.
Yep. And then our last game, we love our Bucks. Bucks Colts, easy pick. I'm taking the Bucks all the way. We played our hearts out versus the 49ers. Did we execute? No. Did we win? No. Was it pretty? No. But we played hard. We didn't give up. No moral victories. Todd Bowles says we own it. I'm going to stay positive with this team. We're going to go in Indianapolis. We did this 2 years ago. We beat the Colts, came back versus Carson Wentz. We're going to do it again. Give me the Bucks. We're going to be 5-6.
Must-win game. Especially with
Must-win
playoffs
game.
coming up.
Every game is a must-win game at this point.
But, yeah, now it's, needed. I'm going to go Bucks. Obviously, we're huge Bucks fans. Saw some promising things from our defense last game. Yaya Diaby. Give that guy more playing time.
Yeah.
What are we doing not giving him more playing time? Guy's a beast, physical specimen. Bucks, Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans. Going to be great.
That's our episode. Happy Thanksgiving. Spend with your families. Go Bucks. Take our picks. God bless.
God bless.
This is not a gambling show.